Hello and welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage, on a beautiful Tuesday in March 2025. It's 50 degrees out and bright and sunny. In fact, I had to spin the camera around so it didn't look like you were staring at the sun. Not a bad problem to have. Today, I'm doing work on my 47 Ford pickup, and I want the U-joints out of this carbon fiber drive shaft. That's a $1,300 drive shaft. What you don't really think about when you're working on a $100 drive shaft, I guess it shouldn't matter. You should treat them all with the same amount of care, but somehow when it costs more, the fear factor goes up that you're gonna wreck it. Now, like I mentioned, I want the U-joints and the yoke off this drive shaft. I already took the other end apart. And as often happens, I'm halfway through. I said, well, we should talk about the process. I enjoy driveline work. It's difficult at times. Applied force technology is what I like to call it. How much stress can you put on something without wrecking it? Well, today I don't want to put any stress on this. We got aluminum end caps and a carbon fiber shaft. I don't want to scratch it, hence the baby blanket. And whoever put this drive shaft together, PST, they're professionals, they know the last step when installing a U-joint, I like to put a rag in the vise, support the caps right here, and gently tap on either side because you want to see the center of the spring clip pop up. That means it's locked into the circumference, not going to fall out. When you just squeeze it in there and it pops in, you're not finished. You got to do that to both sides, and then the U-joint will be nice and free. No problem. So to get it back out, you got to gently, that's the word of the day. I go next to the clip, opposite the squeezy part. Just whack it one time, maybe two. And now I got my safety squints on. Should be able to get the snap ring right out. You can get a hold of it. Like that. And over gently. Go with a little bit bigger thumper here. You can watch the spring clip pop down. Now, pull it up. That one came out a little easier because I had a bigger hammer. Now, with a steel shaft, I'm really careful. Again, I can support that in the vise, and I could tap down on that, and I could work on your drive shaft. You never know I did. I'm not going to smash it all to heck, but this is aluminum, and again, I'm in fear of spreading it, and I don't want to hurt it. I do happen to have, for storage, this nice clip on there, so that's going to kind of help me keep the caps on the other side. If not, I would remove them, but this is a tiger tool. I used to have access to these all the way up to semi-truck size, and that is super handy when you're working on a semi-truck. The U-joint's as big as your head. But parting with that job almost 10 years ago, I knew if I kept looking on eBay, I would eventually find an affordable version of this, and now I see them for around $100. At the time I paid, I want to say $150 or $60 for it used, but this is a Tiger tool. It's a 10105, and it's car size U-joints. So the premise is it's going to push inside the yoke right here. This is going to push on the joint. So if you're careful, again, word of the day, it's going to go right against the caps, and I'm squarely pushing on the inside of the yoke. You could go get the gun, but it should not be required. I should be able to jack them right out with this. I don't want to block your hair, but yeah, she's moving. And I like to make sure that I can push as far as I need to until it's loose without driving the U-joint inside the yoke and doing damage there. You can see it popping out. I'm going to go as far as I can. being mindful that this side is pulling out of the cap and you don't want the needles to fall. There, we're loose. Now, I'm going to back that off, gently back this off, and before I do anything, put the U-joint back into this cap. Now, I'm free to get that out of there. I may have to actually gently grab it. You can tell I did this job just a minute ago. Pop that out of there. Now, repeat. I'll run this back down where it belongs. Make sure I'm square. Just like that. There she goes. No damage. Not hurting any parts. Life is good. I just watched the first clip I shot, the video clip, and I almost want to erase it all because before I turned the camera on, I blew my nose about 14 times, took 2 drinks, not alcohol, I probably should. And I still hear myself sniffing in the background. I've been sick since I got back from my vacation. It's got to go away one of these days. I don't feel that bad. I'm out here working, but the constant sniffling. Please be kind, and I promise in the first 640 videos, I don't think I did that, but the last few I have. So now we have a shorter version of the same thing. I've already put this end on, Lenco yoke, if that's a clue as to what we're doing here. And now I got to get it back together. Again, I don't want to damage anything. I'm going to leave it nice and greasy like it is, but the trick basically is to carefully get it up through the hole. I keep using the same words. And I'm right up against the inside of the yoke. I have it sticking out as much as possible. I carefully put the yoke on there, and you want to move the cap and the cross down together. You don't want them to get them separate because eventually bad things will happen. So I'm just going to start it with this. It goes pretty easy. Again, I'm holding this up into the, there I go sniffing again, up into the cap so I can't lose any needles. If you get them separate and start wailing on it, it's going to fall apart. Now I'm down flush, and you could chance it by flipping it over and separating the joint, but I continue in whatever method you feel adequate. You could put a nut on there. I'm going to go over to the arbor press. And we're going to push the cap about halfway down in the yoke, way beyond the snap ring. So this is sticking out the other side, so I can set the other cap on it and put it all together without losing anything. That's the secret. So I'm going to put that sideways so nothing falls apart. I'm going to sniff a few more times, and I'll be back. Over in the arbor press, I just used a 1/2-inch nut, and I pressed it way down inside. U-joint still together. Now the cross is almost sticking out. Sorry about the sniffing, can't stop it. You can pull it out just a little bit. Start this one. Now you're still together. Now you're just going to move the whole thing down. I can start by putting the clip over here, shuffle the whole thing down, put the other clip on, be right back. Okay, that went well. I went over in the vise with a rag and just gently tapped the whole U-joint assembly up so my center of my spring clip starts to push up. That's how you know it's locked in. My little lock fell off here. Both sides, it swivels nicely. Isn't that the cutest little dry shaft? What am I doing? Well, let's go look. I dreamed this up one afternoon when I had 5 minutes waiting for the school bus and a tape measure in my hand. I realized that this 4-speed Lenco, the ST1200, which is a street transmission, was much better suited for this project than it was for the Race 55, which deserves a Turbo 400, which I know a guy. The Turbo 400 fits in the 55 and solves a lot of my chassis problems, where this was uncomfortable, the shifter placement, and I was having some trouble getting one of the required bars to fit my chassis around the bell housing. So I have a lot of work to do. It's just propped up on a piece of wood. I intended to cut that cross member out a long time ago. I don't like it. It's welded in place, but I left it for this reason, so I could use it to help mock up the powertrain tomorrow or later tonight. I'll probably take that tall deck block right there and use it as a dummy. And we'll start working on motor mounts, mid plate, etc. I'm not sure how involved I'm going to make the mid plate now that I look at it, but that's tomorrow's problems, I guess. But this is going to work. Up front, I have about 1.5 inches to spare, and that's all you need. This isn't the first time I've used a drive shaft that I already had to dictate the placement of the powertrain. In some ways, it's easier. This puts the mid plate just under 81 inches from the center of the rear end, which is, they say, a good distance to be. So it is what it is. I'm going to make it fit, and goes with the theme of the whole project. A bunch of mismatched parts making something out of it. So enjoy your evening. I hope the next video I'm not hacking and coughing, which I think I've left out of the video, and sniffling. So apologies once again, but 'tis the season. Catch you soon.